it was really great for me to see that, if you just have a story that you feel is worth telling, you can tell it for the $5 you have in your pocket, and you just do what you can with what you've got, and you make the art in whatever way you can, and the people will come.
If you're a professional actor challenged by an increasingly fragmented industry, then this podcast is for you. The Hollywood Actor Podcast is an anthology made up of the stories of actors building their bodies of work by redefining themselves, reframing their goals, and reevaluating their opportunities. No matter where we are in our careers, we're always looking to be inspired and to share ourselves across our community. This podcast offers that opportunity to guests and to listeners alike as we all discover what it means to be a working, professional, successful actor. This is Jamie Young, and you're listening to the Hollywood Actor Podcast. Today's guest is Katy Erin. Katy's credits include CBS's Wisdom of the Crowd, Showtime's Shameless, and the webseries Gal Pals. See if you can catch a screening of the short film Out of It, written and directed by Katy, which is currently touring the film festival circuit. Stay tuned for more on the upcoming release of the indie feature film Millennium Bugs, in which she stars. And follow her both on Twitter and on Instagram. Now let's join my talk with Hollywood actor Katy Erin.
I never really have had formal actor training. It's something that I always wanted to do ever since I was a kid. But by the time I got to high school and was doing high school theater, and I was like, Mom, Dad, I want to move to Hollywood and be an actor. They were like, okay, honey, good luck with that. And it was just sort of always felt like something that was too far away to even take seriously. So by the time I was going to college and figuring out what to do with my life after high school, I had sort of talked myself out of acting and decided I was going to study filmmaking in the broader sense and see if there was anything else that I liked instead. So I went to the University of Texas and I got a major in radio, TV, film with a focus on screenwriting and actually visual effects were my two big focuses. And so screenwriting was the only other thing that I felt as passionate about. So when I moved to LA, it was with the intention of becoming a writer. And then I started working as an assistant to a showrunner on a TV show, and I realized that writing is just as hard. So if I was going to be out here giving it my all, pursuing the dream, it might as well be the dream that I originally intended. So
okay. Yeah, writing's not exactly dodging the bullet or anything.
Exactly. I'm working just as hard, and it's not even for what my original dream was, and it has since become something that I'm extremely passionate about. But so that's been a big balance for me, is trying to balance the writing with the acting and making sure that I'm doing both for myself, if that makes sense. But so I didn't really take a formal acting class until this past year was my first time actually dropping the money on an acting class. Because that's the other thing is by the time you realize you need some, you can't afford them because they're pretty pricey. So so my training, I say, putting up air quotes, was doing a lot of theater in high school. And then when I got back out here, this is one of the greatest pieces of advice I ever got from a casting director. I went to one of those things where you pay $20 to do a scene in front of a casting director, and they give you 30 seconds of feedback, and then you never hear from them again. one of those things. So I did one of those, and I don't even remember the casting director's name, but she was like, she gave me two pieces of advice. And the first was to never shake a casting director's hands. And I was like, oh, okay. I'm from Texas. I shake everyone's hand. And they were like, don't do that because everyone has germs or something like that. And I was like, cool, whatever. But then the other thing that she told me was, she said, you have to get into acting classes. You can't pursue this and not flex your muscles. And I said, okay, you're like the 18th person who has told me that I need to do this, but I'm making minimum wage. I'm living in one of the most expensive cities in the world. How am I supposed to be able to afford this? What advice do you have for me if I can't afford an acting class? And she said, do theater. And I was like, what? In LA? And she was like, yeah, they'll pay you like $15 a performance and you'll be practicing and you'll be learning and you'll be getting paid to learn as opposed to paying to learn. And I was like, huh, okay. So then when I was sort of looking for auditions, I started focusing on really small theater, and I ended up auditioning for a musical called Annabelle and the Snow Queen Express, which was a musical for children at the Santa Monica Playhouse. I never realized I could sing until I got that role. And so then I actually ended up doing pretty regular work at that playhouse for about 2 years. And it was perfect for me because it paid just a little bit, not a whole lot, but it paid enough that it was worth my time, aside from just the valuable experience. But because it was theater and because everybody else was sort of on the same plane as I was, everyone, had day jobs, everyone had stuff to do during the week. So it was mostly nights and weekends were when it took up my time. So it was actually a perfect alternative to an acting class, or at least something to keep my confidence up and my muscles flexed in the meantime until I could, get into some classes or get some bigger roles or whatever. So yeah, that's the most I can say about my training is that it definitely did not take a very classic route. But
did you have a very proactive acting teacher at high school, or when you were in college, you were taking that filmmaking course? Was there an aspect of you guys working with actors and learning a little bit about how to direct actors?
There actually wasn't as much of that as I had wished there had been. I've heard of other schools, their film program and their theater program is very closely linked to get people that experience of sort of working on set with actors and learning how to talk to actors and stuff like that.
Right.
We didn't have that in my school. If we did, not in the classes that I took. Most of them were, we would make projects in our classes. So like my last semester, I made like a thesis film that was a short film, and we had to audition for it and cast it and all that good stuff. But we didn't really have a whole lot of like formal training about how to talk to an actor or how to be an actor and talk to a director.
Right.
And yeah, and then my high school was a small town high school in Texas. So theater was not where our money went. All of our money went to our football team. So
yeah.
We had one theater teacher who taught like 6 classes and did all of the plays. And
no kidding. Wow.
Yeah. So she was like, so she was very spread out, and she, she would do as much as she could, but there was only so much that could be done when your school never gives you money for your department.
Sure.
Yeah. So, Yeah, I don't know. Did that answer
That's
that
kind of
question?
how it was at my high school, and throughout my grade school experience. Like I went to elementary and middle school in Texas as well, and then in the military, they really don't on military bases where I was going through high school. Um,
I can't imagine it being
there was just not
focused.
exactly. It wasn't a magnet school for the dramatic arts at all. Um, and people are lucky when it is. I honestly, in this country, when a drama teacher, a singular drama teacher, really takes charge, or there is any type of program. But that's great that you were able to take that and that spark that you were getting from those high school plays and turn that towards filmmaking, and then find yourself in the theater in Los Angeles. A lot of people here don't think about the theater, don't know how prevalent it is. It is extremely spread out, but there are some very diehard theater practitioners in different parts of the city, and marauding theater companies, somewhat similar to in New York City. But New York City definitely has more of these stalwart venues, of which Los Angeles only has a handful. So that's fantastic. You were able to find the Santa Monica Playhouse, and they loved you right off the bat, and that led to those projects for the next 2 years.
Yeah, it really was. It really was such a blessing when I found them. And the thing about theater in LA that I think especially makes it different from, say, New York or anywhere else is, a lot of people who want to pursue a career in theater, they would go to New York because obviously that's where you can actually make money doing theater. In LA, you can't. Like it's impossible. There's no. I mean, the plays that really make money here are the ones that come from New York. So people who are in LA and pursuing theater in LA are doing it purely and solely because they love it and for no other reason. So you definitely get people who are like you'll go to rehearsal and there's like, I mean, there can be egos, there can be like people who don't want to be there, or people are having a bad day, but it's definitely like no one's there for the money because there isn't any money to be made.
Because there isn't. Exactly.
Yeah. So people are doing it because they're so passionate about it, and that's the outlet that they have access to. And so there's something really cool and special about a theater in LA. I think because it's smaller and because it's a little bit of like, I don't know, the stepsister of New York theater or whatever. Like it's not, you don't come to LA to pursue a career in theater, but there's so many actors here who need that outlet, and it is so much cheaper to produce a theatrical performance that it's a really cool way to meet people who are really passionate about their art.
Definitely. I didn't think there was much theater here at all, because when I first moved to LA, I only heard of the handful of Equity playhouses, Equity being the union for stage actors. That includes like the Geffen Playhouse, Center Theater Group's Amundsen, East West Players. I think Pasadena also as well. But yeah, and so outside of that, I was like, oh my goodness, is there any other like community theaters? But there's an unbelievable amount of these 99-seat black boxes, a lot around North Hollywood, some along in Hollywood, along Santa Monica Boulevard.
Hollywood, yeah.
Yeah, so if you want to get involved in the theater, and like you're saying, if you want to explore your artistry and train in a lot of ways, it is definitely available to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
It just takes, it's hard to strike the balance though, because it does take up so much time, and it can pay nothing or very little, where you could be doing a bartending shift on the weekends or at night, and earning a little bit of money towards your rent.
That's absolutely true. It's definitely part of the balance. It was really perfect for me because I had a desk job. So, but at the same time, because everybody was sort of, not a single person involved in that theater didn't have a day job. So, they tend to be, my experience is that people tend to be pretty understanding of different schedules, and you just try to do what everybody can and work what everybody can, and just sort of run and gun until you have the show ready. But yeah, it's
Right.
definitely, I mean, it's just as much finding a balance as anything else, I suppose.
Yeah, very much. And were you also taking these casting director workshops on a regular basis, or were they just one-offs here and there?
Yeah, I kind of stopped doing them. I didn't find them very helpful, except obviously that one experience with that one piece of advice. But as far as like getting feedback on my performance, I didn't find them to be as helpful, because I felt more like they were just trying to get through the night, and like didn't really care, and like nobody was keeping my headshot or anything like that. It felt very much like I was just part of this herd that they were moving through so they can move on with their day. I can't even remember the company that I was like signed up for an emailing list, so they would email whenever they were doing another workshop. I know a lot of actors who have found them helpful. To me, it just didn't end up being a good use of my money, really. For
Sure.
I just decided it wasn't the best use of my money. But I know a lot of people who get a lot out of those.
Yeah, and when I'm not in a regular class, if I haven't had an audition in a week, I try to use one of those just to have that space to go up and perform in front of people. And usually you're performing in front of an audience of people, of other people that are also there at the casting director workshop. So it puts that pressure on you. You're working on a script very briefly, but you're trying to make these choices that are very bold. Try to work with the material in a very specific way for a very specific casting director, in a particular genre or even a show on television. So a lot of that for me has been very useful as I've come from the theater and I'm trying to transition myself into the TV and film industry. When you were working for Santa Monica Playhouse and working in children's theater, how are you finding that medium of children's theater, and how was it kind of informing you as you were yourself transitioning into the television and film industry? Was it making you a little big, or were you still finding a lot of strengths that carried over indeed to auditions for co-star roles?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I think that there's a very specific art of working with children, like with children being your audience, because on the one hand, you're right. A lot of the acting is very big and dramatic, or what's the word I'm looking for? Very like exaggerated. Because in addition to you being on a stage, you're also performing for children, so you want them to like get the jokes, and you want to really like hit the punchlines and make the face or whatever. But at the same time, children are the most honest audience you will ever get. So if you say something dumb on stage, or if you mess up a line, then there's going to be like some 12-year-old brat who's going to yell at you from the audience and be like, you messed up. And you just have to like roll with that. So I think that it's like, I like working with children definitely kept me on my feet in a way that I think probably compares to improv training. That sort of it was really good for me to like keep things fresh for every performance, and try new things, and not get so like stuck in my ways, which used to be a really big problem for me when I was first started doing theater, is performing the same thing the same way every night, and then a month later you like don't even know what you're saying anymore. So but as far as like the bigness and the exaggeratedness of it, yeah, there's definitely a sort of transition you need to go through, or like different performances for different settings. I think that I think that like I did sort of have to relearn subtlety, and you know, a lot of film, especially, but TV now, that is really, really close on the face, and so much of it like the acting is so much in the eyes, and so when you're on theater, you're sort of acting with your whole body all the time, and in film or TV, it's good to know how to do that, especially in an audition when they're looking at your whole body all the time. But like I'll be like trying to figure out how to sit, and then the director will be like, "What are you doing? Like your body's not in the shot. Like we're this close. We're from your chin to your forehead. And nobody cares what your feet are doing." Like, and so yeah, you sort of have to relearn, like, oh, well, if nobody cares what my feet are doing, then everything that I wanted to do with my feet and my hands and my shoulders and my posture, I have to put all of that into my face. And that's been a big thing for me to relearn, for sure, over the past couple of years, because it's been a while since I did the theater, the children's theater. But when I started taking classes this year, that was one thing that I started to notice, because it was an on-camera class, so I could watch myself back, and I was like, oh, I was like really focused on what my hips were doing, and nobody cares. Like, why was I doing that? So I guess in that aspect, yeah, there's definitely been like some transition there for me.
Thanks for listening to the Hollywood Actor Podcast. If you enjoy this content, don't forget to rate and review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening.